Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Cafe of Knowledge. So glad that y'all all are tuning in today. Please hit like and subscribe, please, if you haven't already. Today's topic, we talking about teen violence. Yes, we're going to talk about teen violence today. So in our communities and all across the United States, it's really a bad problem. It's something that we urgently need to address as individuals, as parents, as guardians, as uncles and aunts, and all that good stuff. We need to, sisters and brothers, we really need to come together about this teen violence, because the statistics of teen violence, I know everybody should have by now realized an uptick that we're having throughout every city, every state, an uptick in teen violence. And it's so sad because our kids are being locked up at an early age. Now let me tell y'all this. These are the numbers. You have 30% of middle school and high school children are bullied, or they are a bully themselves, okay? Then you have boys are more likely to bring guns inside of the schools. Then you have the second leading cause of deaths in teens and young adults is homicide. Say that one more time. The second leading cause of death in teens and young adults is homicide. Okay? About 60,000 youths under 18 are incarcerated in the United States. It could be in juvenile or some type of incarceration. Okay? 10,000 minors under the age of 18 are in jail or prison. Okay? The ones who are most likely to experience serious violent crimes are blacks, or 72 out of 1,000 are most likely to experience a serious violent crime. Okay? So within blacks is 72 out of 1,000. In Hispanics is 50 out of 1,000. And whites is 46 out of 1,000. Out of every thousands. Okay? So in the United States, the youth violence is really out of control. It's really out of control, and it has gotten out of hand, and we all need to address this as individuals, like I said, as a community, as a group, as parents, everything. We need to address this problem, because that's way too many young adults being incarcerated. You're saying 60,000 youths under the age of 18 incarcerated, and then you say 10,000 minors or in prison or in jail. We got to do better as adults and as parents and as guardians and as uncles and aunts and brothers and sisters, cousins, all of that. We have to do better and help our kids, help our youth, help our children, help our young adults. We have to help them and focus on them more so that they can have a better way of life, because this ain't it, y'all. This is definitely not it. And I'm going to tell you, the biggest risk, the big cause of the risk of all this is extreme aggression. Now, these are kids who are most at risk, are the ones who have extreme aggression. They have physical harm. They do physical harm. they injured, deaths. These are all the things that is causing our kids to fall in these brackets, okay? Date rapes, homicide, joining gangs, gang violence, drugs and alcohol. All of this is playing a part in why it's so much teen violence going on in the United States, okay? So the parents, teachers, educators, or whoever, we have to be more wise. We have to think more wisely when it comes to our children. We have to start focusing on our children more. We have to start paying more attention to our children. We have to start sitting down with our children. We have to start just sit down and have a heart-to-heart talk. See what's going on. Don't just throw them to the streets so they go to school or whatever like that. We have to be more involved in our kids' activities, who they hanging with, who they dealing with, who are they friends, who are they on the internet with, who are they talking to on the cell phones with. It's not depriving your kids of privacy, but it is keeping awareness of what's going on in your child's life. Because this is very sad. And I'm going to tell you, the media and everybody, I'm just tired of our kids being a storyline for the media. If you notice that when you turn on the news or when you turn on anything or even outside your door, even just a friend calling you and saying that something happened here, or these mall shootings, or these teenagers or getting into conflicts at the mall and at the park and at the basketball court and on the baseball field, soccer field, everywhere outside in the streets and right in front of your house is a down the street. They are getting in so much trouble. And it's up to the parents. It's up to parents to pay attention to what your child is doing. And these video games, they say that's a lot of it. These violent video games. Some of these violent video games that they stay on them all day, they say it starts an aggression within them. And it makes their heart harden to any type of remorse or any type of sympathy. When you have a game that the kid just sit up and play all day where they shooting up this and shooting up that and blowing up this car and doing this and doing that, it's okay for entertainment, but sometimes we have to be aware of the ages that our kids are activating with these games and activating with different people that's playing online games with them, because now they have it to where our kids can interact with other kids on the game system. And all these kids having aggression on blowing something up or shooting something up or robbing something or blowing, it's just so much. So you have to really focus on what your child is doing. Kind of chill out on those aggression games, those aggressive games and things, because sometimes you can see a change in your child after they have played them games. You see what I'm saying? In a long run, you will see that their attitude is kind of short and they have a little smart mouth, or it's just to have no sympathy and anything like that. So we have to kind of watch that too when it comes to that, because some of these violent games and a lot of these violent things that's going on around our kids and these social media, you have to pay attention to that, because it's a lot of things on social media that is very violent. And they go to watching it. They go to watching street fights on the, on the media and all this social media. They watching gang fights and street fights and people beating up this person and people beating up that person, and it's almost like it's an entertainment, and it draws in a aggression to them, or they want to be like that, or they want. So we have to watch all that, y'all. We really do. We have to watch all that, because we really need to make sure our kids are not subject to that type of violence, and to where they don't think that that's okay, or that's cool, or that's funny. But like I said, the more that they watch these things, the more it deadens their sympathy for human being or human life. Okay? And you might not want to believe this, you might want to look it up or whatever you want to do, but it does show that that takes a big part of it. That's a lot of it, that when these violent games that our kids are playing or being dedicated to or watching, and we just have to watch the type of violence that they are watching on social media, because a lot of that plays a part. And social media and everything else make things look glamorous and gold, and it's all right and it's that, and it's really not like that. So let's pay attention. You have to pay attention to that. And then the communities and the neighborhoods, our communities and neighborhoods are so deprived of the resources. They deprived of residential stability. A lot of our communities around here are deprived of learning centers, active centers, like major clubs that they can be a part of, that can grow them economically, socially. A lot of our communities don't have anything like that in it. The only thing it has is they go outside, they play, they go walk down the street, you see gangs, you see violence, you see fights, you see all this, but it's some communities that are deprived of real economic socialism, and people in a lot of these communities should be speaking up to their leaders and to everyone else about having some economic growth inside of their communities, because there are some communities that kids have to go far away just to be in some type of economic or social group thing, but they don't have to go far away for a game. They don't have to go far away to see a fight. They don't have to go far away to see all the negative that's surrounding their communities. They can step right outside and see all the negativity, but they can't step right outside and see all the growth of economic socialism. They can't see that. You have to go in another part of town, or in another rich part of town. You'll have to go way off somewhere to find all those options for your child. So that also needs to be changed, and parents need to come together and talk to the community leaders and things like that to get some change and bring some change inside of their communities. Because our kids nowadays, they learning a form of street justice just to stay alive. You got some communities that the kids have to, they have to gear up, man up, woman up, or girl up, or whatever, boy up, or whatever, because they live in a neighborhood that it's do or die, and they're fighting to stay alive in their own communities. Why? Why are our kids fighting to stay alive in their own communities? And if a kid is trying to fight on their own against a whole negative and poison community, then that kid eventually gonna get tired. They're gonna get tired, lose, and join the negativity. That's just basically all it is. Most teens that's living in a poverty neighborhood, poor neighborhood, even in a rich neighborhood or whatever, all these neighborhoods They feel like their only option of survival is to join a gang or engage in violence. Because that's their only way to survival. Because they can't do it on their own. And we just need every individual parent to talk to their kids and just talk to them, see what's going on, because you can see what's going on inside of your child at a young age on up. We talking about children and teenagers that are going to prison and jail. And a lot of it have to do with us as parents. A lot of it have to do with us kind of neglecting. A lot of it has to do with the parent. And we have to really come to a grips with ourselves and stop this. Help our children. Don't just turn a blind eye to what's going on with your child. Everybody, if you are engaged in whatever your child is doing, and you should be, if you're engaged in what your child is doing, you automatically know if your child is headed down a right road or wrong road. And if it's a wrong road, you have to find a solution to hold on to that kid, get some options where you and that kid can find a better way to handle whatever it is that kid is going through. And if y'all have to go to counseling, get some help or whatever, do it for the kid's sake and for your heartache. Because that's what's going to happen if we don't get a hold to some of these children. And a lot of these kids that's out here committing crimes is parents, and their kids are out there, and the parents know, and it seems like the parents done gave up, or the parents just don't care, or the parents done neglected them, or the parents just is nowhere to be found, period. While the kid is running loose and wild on a destructive path to prison. And that's what we're trying to stop. Because 60,000 children or youths under 18 incarcerated is a very big problem. Very big problem. So that means somebody knows somebody that child is in juvenile or incarcerated. Okay? And that's not good at all. And they go into these self-protection mode, kids do. They go into this self-protection mode when they feel like there's no way out. And that's why it's so urgent that parents, we have to get with our kids each and every day, see what's going on in school, see who they hanging with. Look at who they're hanging. Look at who their friends are. Look at who they communicating with online. Look at what type of things they're looking at online. Just be more aware of what's going on inside your child and inside your home. Because I always tell people, kids have a song inside of them. But the parent just have to listen so they'll know what that song is. Every child has a song, and inside of their heart that they're playing every day and they showing every day. It's up to that parent to see what kind of song that kid is playing and understand what kind of song that kid is playing. And that song means their personality, what's going on inside of them, how they coping with the outside, what's going on. You have to be able to detect that. And you have to be able to help your child through whatever it is that they're going through. Because that's where it's at. It starts from the home. And usually the kids run to the streets when they are feeling neglected inside the home. That's just, most of it is point blank period. The majority of the kids that gets into a lot of trouble is because they felt neglected inside of the home. And I have talked to plenty of children, troubled teens and things like that. That usually be the first thing that come out of their mouth. The first thing come out their mouth is either the parents are on drugs, or either they felt neglected, or either they felt like the mother loved the boyfriend more than them, or the mother pushed them aside for the boyfriend, or the daddy pushed them aside for the girlfriend, or the daddy won't act like he don't want to be bothered with them. The daddy is treating another woman's kids better than he treat him or her. It's just so much in there. They just feel like they not loved no matter what they do. It don't satisfy the parent. And my mom or my dad, they worked all the time. It was like they didn't have no time for me. So the streets was there for me. And these are things that these kids say. And the stories are so heartfelt because the things they saying and the things that got them to this incarcerated stage are real simple things that could have been fixed with inside that home with the mother, the father, the guardian, or whoever. Them little things could have been fixed. A parent can easily show love. A parent can easily show attention. A parent can easily spend a lot of time with their kid. A parent can easily fix some mistakes that they have made and try to make it better for this child. All of those things are very easy, but because it's a lot of us parents not paying attention to it, and the first thing that I hear a lot of parents say is, oh, well, that ain't my fault. I tried to do everything I could, and they went out there and they did what they did, so, well, hey, I told them, okay. The thing is that it's sometimes you can be so wrapped up into, the parent can be so wrapped up into what they doing, they totally dismiss what the kid is going. It's almost like you want to be the type of parent that I say do this and I say do it now and that's the way it go. Sometimes we have to explain to the kid, why do it have to go like that? Or why are you so hard on me about this? Or why is it that you don't want me to go down the street or whatever? Sometimes we have to explain instead of just chopping and saying no and then leave it at that and the kid is lost, don't know what's going on. We have to start sitting down, having some type of communication and talking to our kids and letting our kids know where we coming from. They are loved and all that good stuff, because I'm going to tell you, the lack of stability and structure inside of the home is what drives them kids to the street. And what's driving our young children to the street. Is driving our teens to the street. And then they become young adults in the street. All of this drives them to the streets. Okay? And it's just hard. It's very hard. It breaks your heart when you know that all of these youths under 18 are being incarcerated in any given year, 60,000. And then you got about 10,000 that's in a prison. And we talking about 14-year-olds that's getting like 30 years to life. And it doesn't make sense. We need to open our eyes and help each other, because don't be the type of parent, like I just said, you're telling your kids things, but you're not explaining it to them. We got to do a better job in that. And then parent supervision. We have to have more parent supervision. If you're the type of parent that you working all the time and you gone all the time or whatever, and your kid is at home, that kid need, and nowadays, kids still need supervision, even when they in high school, because this world, they have easy access to the world that some parents don't even know about. They have easy access to social media, and they get in contact with different stuff and different things in a split of a second without us even knowing it. It's not like back in the day or whatever, where it wasn't no social media and all that. It was just stay in the house or whatever. Yeah, you could stay in the house and your kid can do a whole lot of damage just on social media. They could do a whole lot of damage to their life, to their mental state, everything, just by tic-tacking and sneaking on little different stuff on social media that they should not be doing. And it's a lot of things that say, okay, you have to be 18 and older to be involved in this. Well, if a parent is not there, they'll try to do it anyway. And they do have it where you can have this parental locked and all that stuff. But let me tell y'all, you know, they can go over to a friend's house or whatever. That's why they go somewhere else and watch it. What I'm saying is, that's why we need to get a grip on our children. See what's going on inside our children's life so we can stop all this violence that's going on inside these teens. They're joining gangs. They robbing, they killing, they doing all kind of stealing. They knocking people upside the head. I mean, it's completely terrible. And you know it's terrible if it's about 60,000 of them doing this in every given year. It's something going on. And we as parents have to address this. And it's your responsibility. You have to be responsible to get your child, and make sure your child don't engage in these type of activities. If everybody makes sure their own child is they responsible for their own child and making sure their own child is seeing a different way and they more engaged into their kids and their teens' life, we can drop this number from 60,000. It shouldn't be 60,000 next year. It shouldn't. It shouldn't. And y'all can look it up or whatever, because that's what I do all the time. But next year, I don't want to look at teen violence and see how many teens have been incarcerated, and it says 68,000. That means we went up. We are trying to decrease this number by talking to each other like I'm doing here today, and talking to each other and bringing our community together and just focusing on our children. It's time for every parent in the United States, in the world, to focus more on your children. And a lot of it have to do with children having children or whatever. But if it's children having children and there's a guardian that's helping the child with their child, it's your duty as well as a parent to help out and make sure that both of these two, the child and the child who had a child, don't wind up in prison, jail, or juvenile incarcerated. That's our responsibility as parents, as uncles, as aunts, as cousins, as brothers, as sisters. It's all our responsibility to make sure that this does not happen to that child. And I just don't know. I mean, I don't think people realizing how serious this is, you know. And then you just have to make sure that your child has supervision basically at all times nowadays. I don't care if they are in high school and they say, oh, you know what, my kid in high school, you know, they don't need no supervision, whatever. Well, somebody needs to at least pop up over there at least 1 hour or something to check on the kid, or the neighbor needs to be checking, or you need to have agreement with the neighbor. Hey, if you see anything fishy, let me know, or you see something don't look right, let me know. We all have to start communicating with each other more, you know, because a parent can see when their child friends or whatever, that ain't no good. Because I know I could detect it very well. When I used to see my kids out, and then they bring a friend or two home, and I could look at that joker and say, no, we ain't gonna be, nope, y'all ain't gonna be able to hang with that one. I already see wrong. I already see juvenile in him. I already see almost incarceration in him. So no, you're not gonna be able to hang with him. And sometimes your kid get upset or whatever because the kid can't see what we see. But we doing it for them. But see, if that child's parent, who I saw that in, would just take the time to take care of that child, it could all be better. But because something is going wrong there, and I'm gonna tell you, I've seen some kid, and I know that I've seen some kids, and I have told their mother, I said, look, that child there be doing a whole lot. That child there, you need to really pay attention to him because something is wrong. Every time you turn around, he fighting somebody, or he want to jump on somebody, or he just like he a bully, or like you always, every time you turn around, she running up, his mother running up to the school about him, the school calling her, this, that. When you see that, it's time for you to get your child. Ain't no sense of talking about, oh, they bad, I can't do nothing with them. Go to counseling. Start doing steps like that. Go to counseling. And sometimes you can go to the health department or wherever in your nearest city or state and go to the health department and tell them, hey, look, we having family problems. Any kind of way you can recommend something for us to get help, because I do not want my child going down this tight path, and I see it coming because you're getting all kind of phone calls from school and the neighbors telling me stuff, and I see it too. But you can't be in denial, parents. You knowing that your child is headed down a wrong path, but we are giving up too damn easy on our children. Instead of finding a way to go to counsel and seeking anybody help us. If you can't afford to pay for one, they definitely go to your nearest health department, ask some questions, look it up. You go down there and they'll probably try to help you, try to get some help, and y'all do a counseling session so you can see what's going on inside this child, and then maybe y'all can fix it. Instead of just letting the kid go all his life destructive and then land up in prison for the rest of their life or for 30 years. Come on, y'all. We giving up on our kids too damn quick. We're neglecting our kids too damn much. We got to stop this, and you just have parents that if your child is living in an abusive home, domestic violence or child abuse or drugs or something, if y'all know kids that's living in an environment like that, it's up to you who know to try to help that child. You just don't leave that child stuck in a situation like that, because that child is going to eventually hit them streets and become the same way. Become the same way or worse. And so parents, we have to wake up what kind of environment we are making our kids live in when it comes to domestic violence and all kind of child abuse stuff going on inside the home. I mean, all this stuff is going on, and especially they said during this pandemic time, we are definitely seeing a spike in abuse inside the home, for is the spouse and for the kids. Everybody is seeing more abuse, and we have to find a way or get a grip to ourselves and come out of that abusive situation. That is not good for the victim and for the kid. It's not a good situation, and this is happening too far, too often, And you just have, I tell you, parents and adults, sometimes we get so wrapped up in everything else. If you think about it, it's some men that'll treat their women better than they do the child. And it's some women who will treat their men better than the child. We have, come on y'all, we have to wake up. I know that it could be, you could break up with your boyfriend or girlfriend right now, and y'all will call them right quick to try to resolve that matter. Well, why we can't do the same thing when something's going on with our child? We jump up right quick and try to resolve that matter. You know, it just killed me how quickly parents can jump up to make sure that they fix whatever they got going on with somebody or any situation, but they not as quick to jump in with this situation with the kid to make sure that we make this problem better. You know, so we got to start taking a look at ourselves. The same way we can jump and try to get a man back or get a woman back. I know some women that drive from one town to another town trying to get this man back. Well, put that same energy inside of this child when the school calling or when somebody's trying to tell you how bad that kid is and all that. Put that same type of energy into that child. Guarantee you we can make a hell of a change. If we put that same energy inside helping and fixing a troubled teen or a troubled kid who is always having phone calls from the school, who is always into a fight, who is always into some trouble, their grades are going down, something is not right going on with that child, and we need to start focusing more of our attention into making sure this child gets the help they need so that they can come out of this spiral or this downward trend that they're in. We need to start putting more energy into that. And I guarantee you them numbers will go down then. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of our kids they are in alcohol, drugs. There's so much of that out here. They'll go to parties or they'll go with their friends somewhere or do this or do that, you know, and drugs are involved and alcohol is involved and we don't even know. And there's some parents that don't even know their kids are like that. But 9 times out of 10, somebody has told you, yeah, your child is bad. Or yeah, your child is a troubled person. Or yeah, your child is just too much going on. There's something going on with your child. Because I'm going to tell you, I know it's been a while, but I know a lady that I told her, this child here, babe, you need to, go see a counselor or you need to try to get this kid some help because that kid is headed down the wrong road. Because every time I see the kid is fighting, the kid is threatening somebody, the kid is just everything. He taking folks' bikes and he taking folks' stuff from them and he just a big bully. He just, every time you turn around, everybody hate to see him coming. All the other kids hate to see him coming in the neighborhood. But no, when I tried to tell her that, I only told her one time, and it's like she got offended. See, that's what I'm saying, parents. You can't get offended when somebody is telling you. That's a sign that somebody is telling you to help you get a grip to your child so your child won't go down a dark path of destruction. And I told this lady, hey, it's something that kid is bad. You might want to try and see what's going on with your kid because your kid is messing with everybody on the block. First thing out her mouth is, oh, no, he ain't gonna do nothing. He just be talking. He just do that. He ain't gonna hurt nobody. He ain't gonna do that. 2 years later, he killed somebody. Robbed him, tried to rob him, and he killed somebody and doing life. Doing life in prison as a teen. And then she have this look on her face and have this sorrow on her face of, man, I just don't know what I did wrong. I just don't know. And I'm saying is, don't say you don't know what went wrong, because you had someone tell you, and I know I wasn't the only one to tell her, but you had someone tell you that something was going on with your child and you need to grab them. That was 2 years prior to this happening, and you decided to tell me and others, ain't nothing. You cannot turn no blind eye. When more than one person is telling you something ain't right, 9 times out of 10 something ain't right. It's up to you to start investigating as a parent and being on top of that. Don't wait till that child destroy his whole damn life, and then the parent out of jail but the kid locked up. But the parent could have did something about it and had a chance to do something about it, but wanted to be in denial and say, nah, my kid wouldn't do that. Come on now. We got to do better. Because for 60,000 youths under 18 to be incarcerated in any given year, that means it's 60,000 parents without their children. And it's sad. It's sad. And we're losing these kids to, like I said, we're losing them to homicides. We're losing them to fights. We're losing them to gang fights. We just losing them to robberies. We losing them to death. We losing them to car accidents because they was drinking and driving. And we losing them to so many different things. When are we as parents and adults and guardians and uncles and aunts and nieces and nephews and cousins, when are all of us going to wake up and look at the kids we have in our surroundings or who is in our family and say, which one of these jokers is the worst? And let's all try to work and help that one, instead of letting them go out there and destruct themselves and go into this system of prison and jail where their life is basically ended then. It's not fair. It's not fair. It's not fair. We have to do all we can do first. If you say, okay, I did go to counseling with them, and then we tried counseling, and then after that I looked up another program and we tried that program, and then I looked up another program and we tried that program. If you could say you did some counseling and you did about 3 other programs and things like that and things haven't worked, then okay, then I just don't know what else to do either, because if you done did all these different steps. But if you ain't did none of these steps and just throwing your hand away and just leaving the child to fend like that, no, something is wrong. We got to do better. We got to do better. All you got to do is go down to your nearest health department and say that you need help. And that's another thing about these schools. Look, when these schools are telling parents about all this old Ritalin and all that stuff like that, okay, I understand, they love trying to throw that old Ritalin or whatever it is on these kids. Look here, get your kid evaluated before you go throwing them all on this old crazy old stuff. And then if you get your kid evaluated and they're supposed to go like that, then oh well, because I know a parent that the first thing that they did was they called the parent because the kid was always doing all kind of stuff, distracted the class, or they said, he's always distracted, or all this stuff like here. And they said, you can put your kid on Ritalin and all this stuff here, and you can get a check for it if you put out all that old crazy stuff. Well, I told that parent, I said, hey, look, take your kid to a private doctor, get him evaluated first to see why he being destructive or whatever they said that he's doing. Have your kid evaluated first by a private doctor before you just go doing all that. They went and took their kid to a private doctor, and guess what? The private doctor found out why the kid was doing all the... See, the kid will finish his work before everybody else and be all destructive while the other kids are still trying to do their work. Seems like her kid was always getting through with the classwork before all the other ones was, and I guess he just entertaining and messing with things and all that. But anyway, said go get evaluated. Went got evaluated, and guess what that doctor said? Ain't nothing mental wrong with that kid. The kid is advanced. So when that private doctor evaluated that kid, that private doctor found out that the kid is more advanced than the class he was in. So then they had to mess around, test the kid in the school, and then the kid aced his test, and then they had to skip the kid to another grade where it does, now he can do their work because he's on their level. So that's why I said now sometimes you have to reevaluate that type of stuff. Just don't go throwing your kid. A lot of these kids, they throw on that stuff, don't even need to be on that stuff, and then the kid having all kind of problems and all that stuff. I ain't saying that they ain't supposed to be on it, but check it out thoroughly and get your child seen about it, whatever, because I'm going to tell you right now, this lady here took her child to a private doctor, and that private doctor tested the skills of that child, mental health and all that, and they found out he was an advanced child, which means he was skipped or he was in higher level learning than the class he was in. That's all it was. And after he got into an advanced class, everything was fine. Nobody, no teacher, no nothing had any more problems out of it. So sometimes you just have to be particular about what you do, people. So, like I said, you don't have to be a helicopter parent where you just hovering over your child all the time, but you do have to be a concerned and involved parent. That's what you have to do, because we need to stop this 60,000 youths under 18 being incarcerated. And it starts with us, an adult who make good choices, an adult who is involved in them kids' life, an adult who is making sure that they see all the moves their kids are making at home, outside the home, in school, out of school, everywhere. Have to be more engaged in our kids' life, y'all, because this is really terrible. Our kids are out here and they are being destructive. And a lot of us know a child right now probably who is very destructive. And it's just time to get that kid some help, whether that kid want to or not. I don't care if it's a teenager, 17, and you ain't finna take me to no counselor, and you ain't finna, oh yes you is, you going to a counselor. You going to a counselor, or I have somebody else pick your ass up. But you're going to a counselor. We have to get a grips of these kids from little on up. And pay attention to the crowd your kid is hanging around, the people your kid is hanging around. But if every parent hold on to their kid, help their kid, show their kid a better way, and talk to them about what's going on in their life. Who are they having problems with? What are they doing? Who picking on them? Who did? You got to be involved in all this stuff. And if your kid is the bully, you got to find a way to go to counseling and get that evilness or meanness or whatever your child got going on. If your child is already out of hand, you still got hope in them. You need to take them into a counselor, and you need to go along with them too, because most likely it's something going on inside the home that's making the kid like that anyway. And so we just have to find out what it is that's making this teen a troubled teen. And if all of us can do that to just our child, we're not saying do it to somebody else's child, just your child. Focus on your child so we can reduce this number of 60,000 youths incarcerated and 10,000 minors under 18 in prison. And look it up if you want to, and you can see. Type in on YouTube after you get through looking at this. Say kids behind bars. You will see it. You got 14-year-olds that's in there for life. 13-year-olds in there for life. 15-year-olds in there for life. And then you will see grown men that's still in there that said they came in at 13 because of something they did. So we have to really, really, really pay attention to this, y'all. Really. I mean, we really do. So that's all I have. But next year, we don't want to see 60,000 because I'm going to revisit this next year, this same time next year, and see if that number's still 60,000. I sure hope it ain't. Now, you know anybody that have a troubled teen or a troubled youth or something, help them out. Shoot their head this video like I always say. Or let's try to come together as a community and keep an eye on everybody's kids. And hopefully, like I said, you might not want to tell the lady next door that her kid bad as hell. Shoot their ass this video. So and then that'll tell them. But we got to stop and everybody do their part with your child. With your child. That's all everybody's asking. Let's give our kids a better way of living than living in penitentiary and in jail. That's all I got to say. Gain knowledge to prevent blockage. And we all know what that means. The more we know, the harder it is for anybody to block y'all from y'all goals and success. Bye-bye.